this segment of TV Toastmasters. I am so glad you are here. My name is Allison Bennett, and I am a member of TV Toastmasters here in the Portland, Gresham, Beaverton area. And today I am so excited to have my friend Doris Hanger with us because we are going to be talking about how do you get your spark back? Isn't that something we all kind of want to know? Some days we have our spark, some days we don't. Well, when you don't, how do you get it back? So here we are with Doris Hanger. Hi, Doris.
Hi, Allison.
Super great to see you.
Nice to see you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, you're one of my favorite people because you seem to always have so much energy and you totally spark all the people around us or around you. And I want to know, first of all, how do you do that? What's your secret?
Well, there's a few things that I do. One, oh my goodness, getting enough rest definitely is huge. If you don't have enough rest, you're kind of not too sparky.
I know that today, especially, I'm on a little bit less sleep than I normally have. But how do we know if we don't have our spark?
There's some things to be looking for. So if you can catch yourself when you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling drained, exhausted, maybe your patience level's not so great and you're maybe lashing out, or we all know when we're having our good day and when we're having a bad day. Right. So when you're feeling a little off, it's a great time to step back and go, hey, something's not quite right here. What can I do differently? And then to tap into what is it that brings you joy? What is it that you love? Like self-care, like what is it that's going to take care of you as an individual?
Okay, I have to say for many of us, not all women, some men too, but I would say self-care is not always on my top of my list. So are you saying there's a correlation between self-care and spark?
Yes, but it could be something simple like, well, maybe there's a special cup of tea you would like to have, or a special cup of coffee that morning, or you're going to do something special for yourself that you wouldn't normally do, or maybe today you're going to give yourself a permission to go to that special little coffee shop that's got those wonderful little pastries that you know that maybe they're not your best choice, but today maybe that's going to make you feel better. So it's about, if you think about like a little kid who is, what would that little kid like that day? That they could kind of like, ooh, can we go do that? It's like like an internal little woo.
Oh, I like that. So what in my day can give me the little internal whoo?
Yeah.
Or what makes it light or fun?
Yes.
Exactly. Yes. I love that. And so what are some other things? So we're looking for internal whoo. What are some other things we can do when we know that we are not having a sparky day?
I like to take a moment and just reflect. So I have clients that oftentimes they're trying to do so many things and they're so busy, and I do the same thing. I do, go. And that is an opportunity to go, you know, I have been just pushing it too much. And if we can just take a moment and step back. So you can do that in your day, just take a minute. If you're seeing clients back to back or patients back to back, or you're interacting with a lot of people, just take a minute, even if you have to go hide in the restroom or, you know, in the hallway, wherever you got to go, to just take a minute and it's like clear your head, clear the energy. But if you have more time and you can get away for longer, like maybe go away for the weekend, and just where is it that you love to go that makes you feel like refreshed, you're rejuvenating your batteries?
So I know for some of us, we could feel like, well, that's being selfish and self-centered. So like, how can I actually take a weekend? I could see where I could run into the restroom and take a breath. I got that. And you know what? I also know breathing helps send oxygen to the brain.
Yes.
So when we're feeling foggy, it's good to actually breathe because many of us hold our breath.
Yes, exactly.
So that I can do, but I know for many of us, especially if we're juggling careers and kids or family members or volunteer activities, how can you actually just take some time for yourself away? And what's the ROI on that? What's the return on investment?
So imagine if you have been, like I was a mom, and many people that I know who are mothers and parents trying to do many things and the career. we have a short fuse when we don't have any space for ourselves. And so it's the return, your return on taking time out for ourselves is huge, because we have better relationships with the people around us. And the stress level in our own body, better sleep, better attitude, just getting back to ourselves. Huge. When we don't allow time to take, just find a little tiny bit of joy. If it's buying an ice cream cone, if it's going for a walk around the block, if that's all you have time for, do that.
So put that as a priority instead of setting it on the back burner and keep forging forward. Just take that. That's terrific.
Yes.
So what else can we do?
Prioritize. So if you have like you have piles of papers all over that you've got many, many projects that need to be done, prioritize. Like, again, take a moment back, reflect. Like, I actually intentionally signed up for a class to learn to, like, how do you just be able to sit still? And because I don't sit still well, right? And so to take time and just take a minute and go, okay, it's going to be okay. But I kept feeling like all the papers and all the piles, they needed, they were like talking to me, come and work on me, do this project over there. But I forced myself to sit down and just be still. And guess what?
What?
The world did not fall apart.
No. Are you sure it didn't crumble around you?
And it felt like time actually expanded. It was odd. For me, it was a very different experience, because that's totally opposite of how I would normally be.
So you said that time kind of expanded. I know that when I am working with training and training people, we actually kind of play with the fact that time is kind of in our mind.
Yes.
And so 1 minute to do like a speech can seem like forever, or 1 minute to tell somebody what to do can seem like too short.
Yes.
So you're right, it does kind of expand. So when you got back to your task, so you took some time, you took a breath, you meditated or whatever you did, you reflected. When you got back to your things, was there a difference?
Yes, I felt I had more clarity, because I had space in my own brain, because there's so much. It's like we take on all the energy of everything that's around us. So if we have multiple piles, or any, think of your sink. If it has a lot of dishes in it and you walk into the kitchen, it's almost like makes you not want to even spend time in there, right? But if you put everything away, it's like it's a pleasure to walk into the kitchen. So that's kind of like how I think of the meditation reflection time. It's like cleaning your sinks, so to speak.
Well, I know for me that I have a creative time, and when I'm in creative time, I'm kind of a messy. That's because I've got a lot of open ideas and I'm moving pieces. And then when I'm done with that creating time, I go into my administrative time. And that is where everything is exactly in order, it's color-coded, triple color-coded, and everybody better know where things need to go.
Yes.
So is that kind of what you're talking about, is sometimes we just need some organized time?
Yes.
Space in our mind.
Yes, yes. And a separation, and to know that that was fabulous that you even can recognize that I'm in creative mode, so therefore I have lots of things going on. And now I've stopped that creative mode and I've switched gears. So just knowing that we're switching and allowing ourselves time to go from one to the other, that's a whole other coaching segment in itself.
I love that.
How we manage our time.
So is there another key that we want to put on the table here?
Yes. So you want to prioritize what it is that you're, whatever it is, you have all these piles. If you could only pick one, what is the one thing that would make the biggest impact? If I could only focus on that one thing and get that one thing done.
Let me ask you, does that mean that's the biggest thing? The thing with the siren bells, the thing that's on fire, and the biggest thing? Or what does that look like? How do you know which is the one thing?
It's like if I only took a little bit if I just chipped away at that one thing, that could spill over and affect everything else. So it could be as easy as I'm going to take time this afternoon and take time off for myself, or I'm going to go get a massage, or I'm going to go take a trip for the weekend and take some time off. Maybe that will give me more time to be gentle with myself so that I come back fresher and I can work better.
Okay. Or could it also be as well, maybe if I make these 1, 2, 3 phone calls, it will actually make my life so much easier in the future. Is that the type of thing?
Yes, because sometimes there's a decision that needs to be made, and we have something in front of it that we forget. Why am I procrastinating? And I just need, it's all I have to do is make this phone call.
Right.
But the reality is, oh, it's because I have this other thing that I never put together. Maybe I didn't put the proposal together. Maybe I still have questions. So if I get that done, now I know that's my priority instead of the phone call.
I totally get it. Well, when we come back, I know you have a formula, E plus R equals O.
Yes.
And I want to know, what is that?
Okay.
And what does that have to do with me? And how can I make that be a great thing for me to do in my life? So we'll be right back after this break.
Welcome to an opportunity to take the next step of your professional speaking journey. I want you to be honest with yourself. Have you ever wished you were a star in a television show? Or at an event where the media is interviewing bystanders and you are wanting to be picked to give your opinion of the event? Or even in the smallest sense, you're at a sports game and secretly hope that your smiling face would appear on that big jumbo screen TV? But the jumbo screen always finds the fans with the painted faces. And you think to yourself, maybe next time. Well, what if I can offer you a chance to be on TV? Would you take it? That is what I want to offer you now. I'm Dottie Love, Associate TV Producer and Director. Toastmasters International is one of the largest organizations whose mission is to help improve your speaking skills. And District 7 is expanding your opportunities to do speaking via television. We have 4 fully equipped television studios and TV Toastmaster broadcasts to over 500,000 homes, plus a YouTube channel. Who knew? We want to invite you to take advantage of using media and television, either in front or behind the scenes. Let me share a few options that you have. First, you can be a guest on a show. Highlight your business or hobby or your community interest. Anything you're passionate about. Be a featured guest. Secondly, you can train to be a host on an ongoing TV segment. We will train you for that. Third, what about creating your own talk show? We will train you for that as well and give you access to a community media studio to do just that. Or lastly, be behind the scenes, either running a camera or editing shows. You decide which avenue is best for you, and our TV Toastmasters team will help you to navigate to get the most out of your media experience. Personally, I've done them all. I started as a guest, went to hosting, up to directing my own TV show. I don't tell you this to impress you. I tell you this to impress upon you that your personal growth with Toastmasters is directly related to what you take advantage of. And I encourage you to be bold in looking for opportunities to stretch and grow. If this intrigues you, or if you have club members who you think that might be interested in this, please contact us here at TV Toastmasters. I'm Dottie Love, and you can reach me or any of us in the TV Toastmasters family at the contact information at the bottom of the screen. You can also find us on the web. Our website is 7512.toastmastersclub.org.
Welcome back to this segment of Get Your Spark Back. If you've ever felt like your life is locked in, you're kind of dragging, you're just kind of going through the motions. What do you do to get your spark back, to get that life back? Or if you're in a relationship and it's kind of like, not what it used to be when you first got together, what can you do about that? Well, today we have spark expert Doris Hanger from Doris Hanger Coaching today to give us a bunch of great techniques. So, Doris.
Yes,
hey,
Allison.
Good to have you back.
Thank you.
Now, before we left for the break, I know that you would talk to me about the E plus
R
equals O. That's like 2 plus 3 equals, ABC.
Yes.
So tell me, what does that mean?
So E would be the event.
The event. So tell me what that is.
An event could be, let's say it's your relationship.
Okay.
And it's interaction that you have with your partner.
Okay.
And the R is the response. So how do I respond?
Okay.
And then the O is the outcome.
Okay.
So if I want to take responsibility for how my results are, if I'm not getting the results that I want,
right,
I have to take more responsibility for what the outcome is. So if I constantly, let's say my partner comes home and I want them to interact with me, but instead they go and, I don't know, look at the newspaper, or they're not interacting with me. And so what can I do differently? And so I have to ask myself, if I were to just take 5% more responsibility for the way that I behave, how can I get a different outcome instead of, being mad at somebody else or blaming them for not behaving the way that I think they should? And I mean, I can think of lots of opportunities for.
Okay, so what I hear is if there is an event, like for me, when my kids were teenagers, I would want to after they came home, I would want to interact with them. And then there is the R is the
response.
So they're not responding to me. So I can either respond or react. And so maybe my response is reaction of getting upset and nagging or whatever. But then that equals the outcome of no communication.
Correct.
So what I hear you saying is that if we have an event and I want to change the outcome, then I can change my response.
Yes.
To get the outcome I want.
Exactly.
I love that. So let's talk about engaging with teenagers a little bit. So how can we get those teenagers to engage? I know some of the tricks I've tried. So some of those responses.
I know that for me, teenagers are that's a little tricky. And what I did was make myself available, because I know that it's not like a teenager, to me, when you go to approach them, they're not always ready to engage.
Right.
So I just made myself available when I knew the teenager was available. That way, if they come to me, then I'm like, okay, I've already carved out that time so that I'm available for them. So that's how I flipped it, instead of being upset that they weren't interacting on my time schedule, right?
Right, so you're kind of being the adult in the relationship, being responsible, understanding that. Okay, so let's take that into a coworker's setting. So I have a coworker. The event is I go to work. I have a project that needs to be done. I interact with my coworker, and the outcome is the coworker gets upset or sidetracks or complains, and we spend an hour talking about the complaint, and the project doesn't get done. So what can we do in that?
So in that, like, that's happened many times where people, maybe they're late, the deadline, they don't make the deadline, maybe you have to work on a project with another person, and it's really frustrating for you. Maybe they always leave right on time, and then they leave you with the work to finish. So whatever the scenario is, it's like, okay, instead of blaming them that they left early or they didn't finish their part of it, ask yourself, okay, if I were to take responsibility for this, what can I do? So can I communicate better? Is there something that maybe I need to lay it out? I need to do an outline. We need to have a conversation of exactly, look at conflict resolution.
Right.
What can I do? How can we come to terms? Or maybe that's not the person. There's a lot of, it depends on, am I their manager, am I their coworker, exactly what that is. But but to take the responsibility on myself as if it's all on me and I show up with a solution.
That's great. So what I hear is that it's my reaction is my responsibility. So if I want to change an outcome, I can change my reaction.
Exactly.
So instead of assuming the other person is, out to get me or whatever the deal is, I can go in and check my reaction and say, okay, how can we solve this?
Yes.
That is fantastic. So, and that helps us get our spark back by how?
Well, I was just going to share with you
good.
another little hint. Reverse, have you ever heard of a reverse paranoid?
Reverse paranoid, no, but it sounds fascinating. What is that?
So many people walk around thinking that the world is out to get them, or somebody else, that there's always someone else's fault, that something is happening to them, right? So if you're an inverse or a reverse paranoid, it would be like looking out that everybody is here to support me. The whole world is set up for me, not against me. So if I wake up every morning thinking that, oh, this is going to be a great day. Wonderful things are going to happen to me. My coworker is going to, be really wonderful to work with. I have even done this in the morning. I've had a visualization. I had a person who was a difficult, troubling, and difficult coworker, and I visualized seeing them coming in with a smile and being happy because they always came in with a frown on their face. I was very surprised. That morning, they actually came in with a big smile on their face, and they'd lost a ring. It was like a emerald ring, and they found it in their car that morning. I had no idea they'd lost their ring. But when they walked in and they had a big smile on their face, I was shocked. But it works.
I love that.
Yes, so little things like that.
So I love that idea of reverse paranoid. I think that would help us in traffic. So
Yes.
So when you're in traffic and you're assuming everybody's just trying to cut you off or, slam on their brakes, if you use the reverse paranoia, it's like, no, actually everybody wants everything to go really well. They just might not be mindful, or maybe they're in a rush. And do you think that would actually help people around you?
Well, if I was to take that E plus R equals O equation, and I was to take responsibility for my response to that instead of getting upset, what if I turn it into a game? Like, how many times will I have to press my brake before I get to the bridge? Or how many times will I have to change lanes to get to where I want to go? How many, you could play games like that.
So one of the games I play is how many people around me can I get them to change their attitude? So like if we're in bumper to bumper traffic and maybe I stop too soon or whatever it is and I can feel somebody getting upset, I'm like, smile, oops, like, because we all do that stuff, right?
Yes.
And so the game I play is, can I make them laugh?
Oh, I love that game.
And, take responsibility. You're right. I'm blonde. Well, today I'm redhead hair, but some days I'm blonde. I'm blonde. I'll take responsibility for that. Whoopsie, sorry. Let's have a good day anyway.
Yes, I love that.
So in our last few minutes, can you tell us, what do you really want to communicate to us about how we can get our spark back, keep our spark, all of that?
I would love for people to recognize when they're overwhelmed and when they're not focused, and just to take a moment to step back and reflect. And what is it that I need to do for myself right now? Is it be quiet? Is it go for a walk? Is it go get an ice cream cone? What do I need to do? And then prioritize. If there was only one thing, what's the most important thing right now that I could do to move, whether it's a project forward, to move my relationship forward, to move my career forward? What's that one thing that I can focus on?
And it doesn't have to be a big thing, right?
No,
you're just asking
it could be a tiny thing. Like it could be if I took 5% more responsibility, an easy one, if I wanted 5% more responsibility for my health, maybe I would choose fresh fruit and fresh vegetables instead of processed boxed food.
Right.
That's one little thing. Right?
Or taking the stairs instead of the elevator.
Exactly.
And that reaps huge dividends, I hear.
Yes, it does.
That's great.
And just tiny little steps, yes.
So to notice that you're overwhelmed, to reflect, to prioritize, and what else?
Do something fun for yourself, for goodness sake. We all are so serious. So what can you do? Can you skip? Can you, go walk through a mud puddle? Can you go smell fresh flowers? What is it that you love to do?
Go hear a comedian, listen to music, help somebody else out. make the day better for somebody?
Yes, yes. I find animals seem to, like there's a lot of people, we live in Portland, so a lot of people walk their dogs. So I find animals are pretty darn funny. Like if you just go out and about in public and you see all these animals, the animals are smiling. Have you ever noticed that?
No, I haven't. I'm not an animal person, but that's really cool. I'll have to
You
actually.
ever see a dog in a bad mood? Oh, well, maybe sometimes, but
No,
usually
the tail is waggling.
Yeah,
I
usually
love that.
they're pretty happy. And I love to see a dog that's smiling and you know they've been taken care of
Well, and that could help with that reverse paranoia, is to actually find a dog who smiles.
Exactly.
That's excellent. So in our last 30 seconds, Doris, if people want to get a hold of you to know more about how to get a spark or what else you're doing, how can they get a hold of you?
They should go to my website, Doris, Doris, D-O-R-I-S, Hanger, Hanger.com. So DorisHanger.com, and look for the link that says Get Your Spark Back.
I love that. I'm so glad that you're here today, and you definitely have gotten some spark back into my life for today, so I appreciate that. Thank you all for listening. I so appreciate it. My name is Allison Bennett, and I am with TV Toastmasters, and you guys have a spark-filled day.